Hey everybody, it is Rolly. So I am coming on tonight because I am restarting the Soulful journey. So for those of you who connected with me back in September, my goal was to be able to come on every day for 30 days to be able to share something about being able to just really being able to get back into our journey and getting back into where we are. And so um, I think I made it to day 11, maybe a little further in the month of September. And then, so now I'm restarting. And so, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. So that's kind of where I am in terms of starting over and getting this going. And today I shared embracing vulnerability. So I shared a post today about embracing vulnerability. And so this is this journey of transformation that I'm going to get to go through. And so when back in September, when I was just getting back into the swing of things after after summer, as Christmas is coming, and so it was just, I had a new person that I was training and that didn't work out. And so now I have somebody else who has been working with us and been able to help get some of the things going. And so that's kind of where we're going. And so today's topic specifically is about embracing vulnerability and being able to remind ourselves that when we need to, we get to start over, right? So life isn't black and white. Life isn't about being able to have um, everything going exactly as planned. And I was having a conversation yesterday with a group of women that I was providing a presentation to, and that really is that important part of being able to being authentic and being ourselves and really being who we are and sharing our vulnerability. And so a couple of days ago, it might have even been yesterday because now I can't remember, but a couple of days ago, I posted um, I made a post about like how we are like, it's just like a faucet, and the last couple of days have been good, so I guess technically the last day or whatever, but the last couple of days have been better. But it was like this faucet that would just turn on. I would just be watching something, scrolling through Facebook, and I would run across something and I would start to cry, or I'd be watching something on TV. It's not unusual for me to watch something on TV and start crying, but or reading a book and start crying, depending on what it is. But it was just like, it just seemed like every time I turned around, there was tears that just kept flowing and whatever. And it wasn't because I was feeling anything in particular, because sometimes that's helpful to be able to know what it is that we're feeling. And because sometimes that's kind of where some of those emotions come from. But it's just being able to um, understanding that being vulnerable doesn't make us feel weak. And I often talk to my clients about that a lot, my friends and family and clients, is about like that whole, it's okay for us to cry. We have this notion or this expectation that we need to be strong and just do all the things that we need to be doing. And we forget that we need to remember that crying is healing and soothing, um, and it allows us to be able to cleanse whatever it is that's going on around us. And sometimes we have things built up so badly that we can start crying at a drop of a hat. And when that's happening, a lot of times there's some other things that are going on. So being able to reflect over the next 30 days with you guys about what is it that's coming up and where did like some of these tears come from. And maybe there's not going to, like, I'm not going to have a realization, because sometimes that happens as well. But one of the things that I am definitely going to be doing is sharing that vulnerability and sharing that being raw and being able to be authentically who I am, because that makes a huge difference in terms of how we're going to take things to that next step and take things to that next level, is being able to understand what are some of the things that make me feel vulnerable. So fear is one of the things. So today, lots of fear came up when I found somebody's medication on the floor. and somebody had dropped a pill on the floor, and it was like this big huge panic of like, I've got kids, I've got dogs, I've got like all these things that are going on, and that sent me into that fear of what happens if. And so, and a lot of times that fear is one of the things that's going to drive our emotions. Sometimes that drives our emotions to like really want to dive in deep and make some changes, and be able to have that happen. And same as anger. Anger does that for us as well. Is those are two emotions that we often see as weakness, but a lot of times those are our emotions that actually really help us kind of navigate through things and really help us push forward as to what it is that's going on. And so, the other thing that I wanted to talk about with vulnerability is being able to share who we are authentically, and sharing those vulnerabilities with the people that we love and trust will allow us to be able to build a better connection as well. And so, like, we just had our circle tonight, and that was one of the things that we talked about, was like how, like, one person shared about how this was happening to them, and one other person shared about how this was happening to them, and it was like, wow, look at that, we have something in common. So then it was like, okay, raise a hand, like, who is in that same boat, who is having these same feelings or this same kind of type of behavior, or feelings about something that's going on. And it's just really interesting to see that a lot of times we are not alone. And so, being able to harness that vulnerability allows us to be able to grow, right? So sometimes we have to feel discomfort and uncomfortableness in order for us to be able to see what's going on within that next thing. And so, how are we going to take things to that next level? And how can we actually grow from this particular experience? And when we take a look at it, it allows us to be able to have that perspective as to what it is that's going on. And so, one of the things that will be available with this 30-day journey is that I'm going to have a workbook that's going to allow you to be able to like write some thoughts. It'll have some reflective questions, and being able to have something that you can kind of like print off and write through, or that you can kind of scan and write it into a journal, whatever it is that's going to work for you. And the reason why it's not going to be until early part of next week is because Grace is on holidays until for a couple days, and so she'll be back on Friday. So I don't know how much that she'll actually get done by Friday, but definitely by Monday, late Monday or Tuesday, then I'll have some work, like an entire workbook for you to be able to have access to. So if you're interested, let me know and we can get that going. So just shoot an email to info@rolialair.ca, and I can definitely get you that information. And so, so with each day is going to be an action. So like if you were following this with me back in September when I first started, is being able to go through this. And so there's a vulnerability jar. And so within the vulnerability jar, it's being able to like write, what was that thing that you were actually feeling vulnerable about? What is it that and be honest with it, because it's not something that you have to share with anybody else, but I want you to actually have something that you can actually, and it could be a jar, it could be a box, it could be whatever it is that you want to. You just want to be able to see it filling. And so being able to put something, so a jar is usually a good size, so it usually helps you, and it's usually see-through, so it gives you that opportunity to be able to see. And so, but yeah, so like that's the task that I want you guys to do. And so tonight, before you guys go to bed, or tomorrow morning when you guys are catching this replay, is just write that, do that, take that time to be able to do that, and do that for the next 30 days. So a lot of these things over the next 30 days are going to be things that you can like tie on to whatever it is that you're going on. And it doesn't have to take forever. It can take 2 minutes, right? We all have 2 minutes in our day. So whether we're like, it doesn't matter where it is that, or what it is that we're doing, just take a minute or two to be able to write down, what is it that you have done today that makes you feel vulnerable. And so, yeah, so I will be sharing my jar and my journey with you guys over the next 30 days. And yeah, so if, again, going back to, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. So I'm trying this 30 days again, and I'm hoping that you guys are joining me on this journey. And yeah, I will talk to you guys all soon. Bye for now.